All right, it's February 2024, and I wanted to do a quick man cave tour. It's changed a lot since last year. I like these videos, so if you like them, hopefully you enjoy. So to get into the game room slash man cave, you go into that door. It's about half my basement. We do have mechanical room, washer, dryer, and stuff in there, but come in, you take a right, and this is the man cave. So coming over this way, we do have a full bar here. Some liquors. I don't really drink too much liquor. It's mostly for when people come over, but it's good to have it on hand. Doesn't really go bad. A 55-inch TCL TV that used to be in our living room and now is hanging on the bar. It's a nice kind of setup because we can have people sitting here watching the game. Other people can be playing video games over there. Kind of just makes it a good hangout spot for adults and kids. And coming around here, bar does have a sink, which is nice, and some pieces of flair, Strohs. This little iron guy I got in Colorado last year. And Randy and his gut. My wife actually met Pat Roach at the Randy Cheeseburger Picnic, so kind of cool to have that. They just signed. She's not even a Trailer Park Boys fan. She got called on stage, so it's kind of funny. Coming over here, vintage firearms. We've got a 1943 M1 Garand, mostly serial matching. The stock is new. It's pretty common on these guns. I'd love to get a fully original one someday, but for now this is great. And top one, 1939 Mosin Nagant. I do have that one hanging up over there is actually my hunting rifle. That's actually a Japanese Arisaka from World War II. So I'd like to get all of the kind of big powers from World War II. I'd like to get an Enfield and a few others. Really just like history and historical firearms. So that's what I've got right now. Here we got a foosball table. I think I'm going to probably get rid of this or move it to the pole barn. Just doesn't get a lot of use and it takes up a lot of space. Do have a drum set and an exercise bike for when I'm feeling fat. And then some just awards. Not that anyone cares, but was an all-state sprinter in my youth. So I do work down here, and sometimes it's good to have some of the awards just when you're having a down day, just remembering all the stuff you've been through. Coming over to the right, this is my workspace. I do work from home. I'm a Scrum Master in IT, software development, and this is where I work. I'll get into that document shortly, but it's a 34-inch ultra-wide, 144 hertz, 1440p, and then a little side monitor. This is actually a portable, like second screen for a laptop. It folds up, but I just kind of use it as a second screen for Microsoft Teams or Slack or whatever. First shelf. Let's start at the top. I do love vintage Legos. Been a Lego fan since the 90s, and I've been collecting more 90s Lego sets. They're hard to find complete in box, so add to those slowly. And then some of the newer Lego sets, really like the Star Wars ones. I put most of those together, and then I've got the Seinfeld and Friends stage sets, which are cool. DJ Hero, sealed Batman from the animated series Parachute Batman. Some Lego figures, the Lego X-Wing, Lego Slave One, TIE Fighter, and then my childhood Batman. I need to set these up a little better, but I'm glad I still have those, as well as the Batcave. Going to the right, we've got Megatron and a large Batman. Some DVDs and Blu-rays. Used to have a lot more. I've purged quite a few of them. I've just kept the ones that I really feel like I'll watch again. And some PC games, Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings on PC. World of Warcraft. I played a lot of World of Warcraft in the day. I played up through Lich King, and then a little bit of Cataclysm. But I kind of started falling off the WoW bandwagon at that point. I just didn't have enough time. Left of that, I've got some old gaming magazines. These are all my original ones from when I was a kid. Look at this, Xbox vs. GameCube, The Verdict. Who's gonna win? They'll tell you. And then I have a lot of comic books that I've just collected over the years. I won't pull those out. Those need to be organized a bit. And then the game wall. So I've done a lot of restructuring of the shelves. That was my main goal this winter while I've been stuck inside. So my shelf setup before was planks of wood like I have here, but they were attached to brackets that drilled right into the wall. And the problem I kept facing is I wanted to move stuff around or reorganize it. And every time I had to do that, I had to pull the shelf out of the wall, put more holes in the wall, and yada yada. And I also don't like floor standing shelves. I know a lot of people do, and that's great for them. This is my basement. We live on a pretty big hill, but there's always a chance there could be water in here. So I wanted everything up. And secondly, when you have things stacked all the way to the bottom, you have shelves kind of go into the floor, you don't ever see the stuff on the bottom, and I'm not trying to bend over and get it. So everything here is waist high, which kind of just is nice for me. And then replace that with these shelving standards, these here, and then some of these brackets. There is a large metal bracket that goes across the top and it bolts right into studs, and these just hang from it. So I can slide these in and out. I can move the shelves up and down, and it's like 1 inch differences if I want to adjust it. So for like Wii U, I get a tiny amount of space there at the top, which is what I like because I want to condense it all and fit as much on this wall as I can. So you may think it looks like a closet, and that's fine. It's probably not for everyone, but for me, it's working really great. And this whole setup for these shelves with the wood was $312 to do this whole wall. I don't think I could even buy floor standing shelves for that much. All right, now that I've justified that purchase, top shelf, all the Funtastics. These are complete in box, all of them work, and they all have an expansion pack. Episode Racer set, and then that is my childhood N64. I'll cover that half when we get around the couch. So let's look at N64 first. I have exactly 100 games. I think I'm done here. I don't plan to really collect any more N64 games, but I have all the ones that I think I'd want. All the ones in the red here, this red label, are these hard shell clam cases. You can buy these online. They're not cheap, but I think they're like $6 or $7 a pop. But for like a game like Conkers, I feel like it's worth it to protect it. And then all of the ones with the white label, these are complete in box, so this is like the original boxes, and they all have this like protective plastic on them. So let's just do a quick pan here. I'll call out a few that I have good memories of. Obviously 1080 snowboarding, grew up with that. GoldenEye, it's a classic. Battle Tanks, the first one, not as good as Global Assault. Army Men, I love the Army Men games back in the day. They're so good, I wish they'd bring that back. This is my original Ocarina of Time cartridge, which I need to find a way to rip that save off because I think that battery's getting close to dying. Paper Mario, Episode 1 Racer, Turok, and Battle Tanks Global Assault, which is probably top 3 N64 games for me. Alright, sorry about the cut. My dog decided to bark at something outside. Yeah, Battle Tanks Global Assault, top 3 N64 games of all time. I think that multiplayer mode is critically underrated. And then the bottom shelf here, Harvest Moon, Pokemon Stadium, Majora's Mask, Jet Force Gemini, really like that game, Conkers. So I am lucky that the ones that I have in box, I collected probably 2010, 2011, when they were still like, God, I think they're like 20, 30 bucks a piece complete. So I'm really glad I got those when I did, especially for ones like GoldenEye and Star Fox. I stopped collecting for about 8 years. I moved across the country, didn't take my collection with me, and just kind of got poor again. So when I came back to collecting right around 2016, 2017, I decided I'm not going to be collecting complete in box anymore. The prices were just getting too high. So really anything that's in these hard shells are things I collected, around that time. And if you're curious, my favorite game of all time is Ocarina of Time. I know it's a pretty generic game to pick, but I love it. Loved it when it first came out. Down below we've got NES. Most of the big hitters, I'd say. I've got Super Mario 3, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2, Total Recall, Metroid, and like Rad Racer. Those are all good games. And then I've got some Super Nintendo games here, Final Fantasy III, Spawn, Mystic Quest, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Unfortunately, I sold most of my Super Nintendo games when I moved back to where I live now. I was kind of just set on keeping only the games that I want or wanted to play, but the games I want and wanted to play changed. So I sold off all the Donkey Kong Countries, I sold off all the Mega Man games. Absolutely regretting that now. Coming up top, GameCube games. Not really collecting a ton for GameCube. Like a lot of kids, I was one of those that sold my GameCube, OG Xbox, and PS2 collection. I think for gas money, because I was 16 and wanted to drive around. Stupid move, but hindsight's a bitch. So I've been working on getting back some of the titles that I had when I was younger. You know, Metroid Prime, SSX Tricky, Star Fox Adventures, which I think is still a pretty good game. The Wii wasn't really something I got into too much. Played Wii Sports, but I was more interested in Xbox, and I was kind of not gaming a ton. You know, this Wii came out, I want to say my senior year of high school, and I just wasn't playing a lot of video games at the time. So not a ton of nostalgia for the Wii. I do have a Wii U. Actually been playing a lot of Wii U lately. I like Xenoblade Chronicles X. That's my favorite Xenoblade. I think it's just superior to the other ones. My wife even liked Xenoblade X. And then Twilight Princess HD. Next up is the Switch. This is probably the collection that grew the largest in 2023. I think I had 25 games. I'm now over 50, I want to say. Yeah, 52. I don't know, I just felt like collecting it, and there were some good sales this last Christmas, so I stocked up. Some ones I played this year, I beat Super Mario RPG. First time I beat that. I finished my Octopath Traveler save from when it first came out. Kind of lost track of that game. Same with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Finished that save. I was like 42 hours into it, and it took another 6 or 7 to finish the game. I don't like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that's why I quit. It was a pain. It was painful to get through it fully, but I did it. What else here? Tears of the Kingdom, beat that right around release. Luigi's Mansion 3, my wife and I played through that. I would basically beat each stage, and then she'd go through and vacuum everything to find all the hidden gems, so we did collect every hidden gem in that game. It was a fun way to spend a couple weeks there. And then Smash Brothers. So my wife's not a big gamer, but we spent probably 2 weeks just going through Smash and unlocking every character. So that's a good memory. And then over here I've got the Tourist and Fast RMX. These are imports from Super Rare Games. And I did get the Plumbers Don't Wear Ties Switch game. I don't ever tend to play it. I just thought it was funny that it got released on the Switch. And, you know, I'm a big fan of AVGN, so, you know, it's a weird game. Below that, we've got Dreamcast. A couple I'll call out. Grandia 2 is really good. Elemental Gimmick Gear. That's an interesting game. If you've never seen anything about it, I'd recommend watching a playthrough. The art style is really cool. And a controller. And then to the right, I've got 132X game and Space Invaders for the Game Gear. I just got these really cheap, so I have them. Below that's Genesis. Earthworm Jim, remember playing that when it came out. Aladdin's great. I've got all the Sonics. I do have Shaq Fu. Hell yeah. And then, yeah, Jurassic Park's pretty good. And the only loose card I have is Bubsy, because that one came in a cardboard box. Below that, I've got 2 Oculus Quests. The first one's, it's a pretty big space down here, so we'll do some VR from time to time. To the right of that, PS5, probably my most played console as of late. Last year I beat Armored Core, Hogwarts Legacy, Alan Wake. I beat Crisis Core Reunion. That was the first time I'd ever played that game. I didn't have a PSP back in the day. And over to PS4. So I've got all the Dark Souls, probably my favorite franchise of all time. Some limited run stuff. Grease, if you haven't played it. It's a great game. Psychonauts 2, I like that that's an Xbox Game Studios game now, but it's on PS4. Final Fantasies. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan from way back. And PS2, like I mentioned at GameCube, I did sell most of my PS2 games in, I don't know, 2006, 2007. Some of these are my original copies. Like I didn't get rid of my GTA games or my Final Fantasy games, fortunately. So glad to still have those. I have a metric ton of PS1 and PS2 demo discs in here. And then over to PS1, you know, all the Final Fantasies, Legend of Dragoon. Please Sony, re-release that on something. Vandal Hearts 1 and 2. Siphon Filter. Yeah. Not my biggest collection, but something I'd like to get more of. It's just PS1. The only thing I want to collect is RPGs, and they're wildly expensive right now. All right, let's come around the couch here. So this is our seating area. It's pretty big. That's my Great Dane Liesel. This is a Lazy Boy couch. And then this chair is a recent addition. My wife got that for me for Christmas. It reclines, it's electric, it has heat, massage functions, kind of a good place to sit and play games. Big sectional for when we have friends over. And the rest of the collection. So NES Action Set in box, Super Nintendo in box, Red Wii, the Wii U, Tears of the Kingdom Switch, my OG Switch, 2 Pro controllers, Dreamcast, 360, PS2, my original Game Boy. I got that in '93. It was my first ever video game system of any kind. Grandparents bought that for me. Below that, my set of controllers, mostly N64. And then PlayStation and N64 I'm going to try to sell or trade. If anyone wants a box N64, let me know. I'd be happy to trade with you on something. Genesis, Atari, and PS5. Going back over here, so this is 360. Doesn't get a lot of play, but I have a lot of fond memories of the 360. Came out when I was in college, so played a lot of Halo 3, a lot of Gears of War. It was a great time. Then OG Xbox, I've been collecting a lot for this lately. Some really good games on the OG Xbox, and most of these are backwards compatible with Series X. And then some Atari games. I got all these in a lot. I have not played them. I probably will one of these days. And then my Game Boy cartridges. And that's my original Pokemon Silver from when I was a kid. The battery has since died. That save is gone. Rest in peace. To the right of that, we have my record collection. I do pick these up from time to time. And some strategy guides. Sorry for the mess. This is where my rear channel speakers get routed. And then the kind of entertainment center. So this is a 75-inch Samsung Q80T, 4K. It does 120 hertz if it's HDMI 2.1, which the PS5 does. Really nice TV. I love it. Turntable, some controllers, my center channel speaker. Games I'm currently playing here. Resident Evil 2 and Wind Waker. I never finished my Wind Waker HD save, so I'm kind of going back to finish that. And then I haven't played Resident Evil 2 since PS1 original, so my wife and I are enjoying going through that together. Controllers. Systems I have hooked up: Wii U, PS5, 360, N64, Genesis, and Dreamcast. And then I've got a mini disc player, my AV receiver, and a Marantz tape and cassette deck. I typically only keep as many consoles hooked up as will fit in the second shelf. Usually if I want to play NES, I'll bring it out for like 6 months, and I'll just play a bunch of NES games. So these are what I'm mostly playing, and at some point I'll probably pack up the Genesis and put it back in its box. That's just what works for me. And then I have tower speakers on each side of the TV. That's my front channel. So right, we've got some disc plates. Really like disc plates. Got Link, Darth Vader, and a Dark Souls one. And I've got room for one more. It's probably going to be Final Fantasy VII. So as soon as that's in the budget, we'll be finishing that off. And my goal is to do a skateboard deck between them. That's a skateboard deck my wife's company actually did a collaboration with a local skate shop. So that's just kind of a cool piece for us personally. And I do have a bathroom through that door. So other things to call out, I guess, if you're curious about how many games and which ones I have. Let me unlock my computer here. All right. So I'm a weird data nerd. I like to catalog and keep data on all my stuff. So these are my systems and how many games I have, and how many games I would like to have. So I currently have 596 games. At the end of 2023, I had 590, so I've added 6. My goal is to have 1,075, and that is just a round number on this column. So like 50 NES games, 50 SNES games, and 64 I'm done with. A couple of them I'm really close to being done with, like the OG Xbox and the PS4. These numbers may change, but that's just kind of the goal. And then some things I'm looking to do this year. I'd like to get 700 total games, really focusing on OG Xbox, PS1, GameCube, and Genesis. And these are some games that I don't have that I remember as a kid that I'd like to pick up. So we'll try to find those somewhere. And directly out this window, we do have a hot tub. So I'd be lying if I said I didn't take a work meeting in that hot tub before. Some Star Wars action figures up there. We do have a daughter. She's kind of outgrown this bassinet, but we still keep it down here for some reason. And yeah, this collection is just something I chip away at a little bit. I've tried to leave room between all the different genres or different systems so I can expand. It used to be all condensed like in one area. It looked really packed. So it's kind of spread out now. I don't have to keep arranging things to add a new game. This shelving setup worked really well, and I can still expand it. I could fit another shelf at the bottom there if I wanted to. But that is my collection as of 2024. Let me know if you have feedback, if you liked it, if you hated it, that's fine too. Do a quick shot from back here by the bar. And if you're curious, this room is 24 by probably 35 or so. It's a pretty big space. Very lucky to have this much room. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching.